Evaluation, what is it and why do we need it? What do we mean when we speak about evaluation? Evaluation can be understood as a systematic assessment of the operation and/or the outcomes of an activity or program. As we speak about a systematic assessment, we usually have a set of explicit or implicit standards and criteria that are applied. Generally, we can distinguish between formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation is also considered process-based evaluation. In the formative evaluation, we identify the activities, projects, or programs' strengths and weaknesses. This can be done continuously, and the feedback obtained by this evaluation can provide direct feedback and even be used to improve the process while the project is still in progress. You could also see this as a kind of quality assurance with the continuous feedback loops to improve your processes. Summative evaluation, on the other hand, is outcome-based and is concerned with assessing the overall goals of the activities or programs, its potential impacts and benefits. This impact assessment is providing evidence for change triggered by the intervention, and mostly used for showing impact to external stakeholders or for certain groups. A widely used model for defining the success of a project or change process is the logic model of evaluation. It has been widely adopted and used for evaluating scientific programs and technology deployment programs. And more, it is also used for individual projects, including citizen science projects, during their planning and execution. The logic model provides a structured approach for the project's design and evaluation. It is systematically relates the project's inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impacts. By input, we mean the resources available for the project or for the activities. The activities themselves refer to the actions that are planned and implemented to achieve the desired outputs. The outputs are the products or services resulting from these activities, which could be in a citizen science project, for example, the data points that you collected, the workshops that you conducted, etc. Outcomes are the effects of the outputs on the target group, such as a behavior change, an increase in knowledge or skills. And the impact is a long-term changes brought about on a societal or policy level. They constitute the progress made towards higher level goals. So these are typically achieved beyond the lifetime of the project or program, which makes it also so difficult for us to assess within the project's time frame. There are many variations of this model, and you may come across more complex or more simplified versions. Some, for example, consider next to the input and resources also the context, the assumptions, risks, and preconditions for certain activities. In the evaluation process, the inputs, activities, and outputs are usually easy to document and to measure. This is mostly done with quantitative measures. An example could be for the number of workshops conducted, including the number of participants that you engaged and the resources that you made available. It could also include qualitative feedback from participants and stakeholders collected, for example, via interviews. Recording the outcomes is already quite complex, and measuring the impact of a project is even more challenging. Often, it is difficult to causally attribute measured changes directly and inclusively to the project. For example, if a participant in a citizen science project changes their behavior and converts to a more sustainable lifestyle, this could be due to knowledge and attributes acquired during the project, but it could also be because of their new partner who is an environmentalist activist. For impact, usually we refer to a broader effects than outcomes, and thus measuring impact is even more of a challenge. As said, it often spans beyond the project lifetime, including long-term effects and aspects of sustainability. Also, we are again faced with the difficulties of causal attribution of certain changes to a specific project. So this goes for both directions of causal attribution. For example, a project may cause multiple effects, and an observed effect, such as societal change, usually has not one, but many different causes. And due to these difficulties in causal attribution, outcome and impact assessment often include qualitative assessment and case studies. And impact, for example, in citizen science project can be attributed to changes in policy, social innovation, or societal change, as said before. But why do we need evaluation? Evaluation and research projects and programs has historically been associated with the research output itself. So, for example, as a proof of the validity of the collected data and the resulting scientific evidence, as we can see here, as part of the research cycle, validating and testing your data is an important part of your research activities. And this is still a very common approach in many disciplines, and especially in natural sciences. And this validation is also often done via disciplinary peer review systems. However, nowadays, research funders also more and more request evidence for the economic and societal outcomes and impact of research. So alongside the scientific quality of your data, it is important to show that research projects are contributing to global societal challenges and mission-oriented policies, such as the restoring of our oceans and waters, conquering cancer, or the establishing of climate neutral cities. And we see this depicted here in the impact part on the change processes. So today's research policies tend to have a great focus on outcomes and impact assessment, asking projects to measure not only research quality, but also its broader impact and use. And this shift towards impact assessment and research falls in line with the general historical development of redefining the relationship between science and society. We can observe this at many levels, such as the increasing institutionalization of public engagement, the development of practices of technology assessment, and the wide support for concepts of the concept of responsible research and innovation, short RRI, which by the European Commission has been defined along 6 policy agendas. And typically, citizen science would be mostly established within the public engagement policy agenda, but it also touches upon most of the other science policy agendas. Citizen science falls within the principles of RRI and at the same time has strong resonance with the characteristics of transdisciplinary research. Thus, when dealing with evaluation of citizen science, we have to consider its socio-ecological relevance, its multi-stakeholder engagement, and its societal embeddedness, which are also core elements of an RRI evaluation, as we see here.